Hey everybody, hope you guys are all well. Just waiting for Motshidisi to join us quickly. Okay, just hold on. Hope that everybody's good. Just gonna quickly wait for a sec, because she's quickly on her way. So, just give it a few moments. Hope everybody's good. Hope you guys are all doing well. Hope lockdown is treating you all well. Welcome to Impactful Conversations episode 4. I'm hoping that you guys are keen for this one. I think it's going to be an amazing one. Really excited. So we'll get started in just a couple of secs. I was waiting for Easy to join us quickly, but welcome everybody. Hope you guys are all doing well. Hey, seeing lots of really awesome people join, which is wonderful. I'm just going to give you guys a quick wave. Quickly. Nice. Welcome. We'll just give it a moment for Motshidisi to join us. She's just joined. Awesome. Okay. Awesome. We're going to get started. Hope you guys are ready for this one. Hey,
Hello. How you doing?
I'm well, Motshidisi. How are you?
Very good. Can't complain.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Thanks so much for coming to the show. I'm really
Pleasure.
excited for this episode, and
Yeah.
I know we've been talking for quite some time to get this one going. So I'm really excited for what's to come.
Yeah.
How's your weekend going so far?
In lockdown, same old. I would
Yeah,
rather be in studio doing what I love, but here we are, new normal.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So taking it easy, trying to watch as much series as possible, trying to read
Awesome,
as well.
awesome.
Yeah, that's what keeps me busy now.
The
Yeah.
new normal, as you say. But
Hey.
I think we can get started. So thank
Mm,
you so much for joining us for episode 4.
my absolute
Um,
pleasure.
and so I think to get started, we're just going to kickstart. So this is typically how I start the show.
Yeah.
General sort of Q&A.
Yeah.
Who are you? Where are you from? Where did you grow up? What did you study? Yeah, tell us a little bit about yourself and what are you passionate about as well.
All right. Motshidisi Mohono, born and bred in Katlehong on the East Rand. And I was just like a normal kid growing up. I loved being outside, playing, getting dirty with my cousins and my siblings. I went to Alberton Primary, Marathon High School. Then I
Mm.
ended up at the University of Johannesburg to study accounting, BCom accounting. I'm an accounting graduate. But in the midst of studying, I fell in love with media and just with broadcasting. Went from working in a newsroom
Mm-hmm.
to taking over doing news and a little bit of the eco side as well because of what I was studying. Um, and then ended up hitting up the sports desk, and the rest is the present.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah,
So I think, everybody pretty much knows who you are in terms of, what you do. We've all seen
yeah.
your face when we were watching the Rugby World Cup, and prior to that as well. But, if you had to look back on your career thus far, what would you say is your favorite moment on air at the moment?
Yo, there's so many.
Mm. You can give us
Definitely,
3 or 2.
Definitely World Cup. That
Awesome.
was just important, not just the final, but just being a part of that broadcast. I would also say Sia Kolisi's first game as captain at Emirates Airline Park. That
Special.
was just, yeah, it's special.
Special.
It's
Special.
extraordinary to be part of that moment.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, sure, it was something else. It was
Mm.
absolutely extraordinary. And then I think the 36-34 victory against the All Blacks in Wellington, I was in studio for that as well.
Awesome.
It was
What an amazing day.
we celebrated like we conquered the world. So that was a pretty extraordinary moment as well. And it was a blessing to be a part of that. I can't tell you how I ran around studio that day.
No, I remember that game. I mean, just jumping up
Yeah.
and down, couldn't quite believe what I just saw. But just the testament of teamwork and spirit,
Mm,
coming
mm,
together really just brought us all together, which is so
yeah.
amazing. And I think it must have been amazing to be on in the studio at the time as well. With some of the former players, I'm sure as well. They were probably swelling with pride. It's just a bit
No, they
awesome.
were. We were like jumping up and down, high-fiving each other. No one could sit still. But I'm talking everybody, the entire
Mm,
crew, the entire panel. It's really great to watch your national team win and dig dig so deep for a victory that really mattered and cemented their turnaround in
mm,
world rugby as well.
mm,
Yeah.
mm. Do you still get nervous before you go on air? I mean,
Of
after doing this
course.
so many times,
Of
I mean,
course. Yes, yes, yes. If you get nervous, it means it still matters. It's still
yeah,
close to your
absolutely.
heart. It still gets your
Mm,
heart pumping and your heart racing. Yeah.
mm,
Just get nervous, take it all in,
yeah,
quieten down, say your prayers, and then
that's
we
really good.
live. Yeah.
That's really, really good. So let's talk a little bit about you.
Mm,
So particularly around the topic of you pursuing your dreams and your sort of
yeah.
journey. So as a start, tell us a little bit about your journey into broadcasting, actually, and how that came about. I'm quite curious. Went to UJ to study accounting, but then developed the passion in media. How did that sort of come about? And tell us a little bit about that development of the passion.
So I've always been a person that does not like idle time. I don't necessarily like sitting around. I like to rest.
Yeah.
Um, but when I arrived at UJ for first year, I found that for what I was studying, I had a lot of time, like a lot of time.
Mm,
And then
mm,
I ended up spending most of it just not doing anything productive. So they were having auditions at UJFM. So I thought, hey, Rock Station, let me go. I got the swag, I got it. Let me go try out. And I was horrible
yeah.
because I liked mainstream culture, pop,
Mm,
hip hop, that
mm,
kind of not hip hop, pop music, urban house, that was my vibe. Guaido, that was my
yeah.
vibe.
Yeah.
And they were not looking for a presenter like that because it was still a rock station. And then they
Okay.
asked me to read a news bulletin. I read the news bulletin and they were like, huh, she can read though.
You're like,
So I worked at UJFM for 8 months. So this was August 2017, my first year,
Okay.
2007.
Mm,
2007. That was my first year at UJ. So this is August 2007.
okay.
So I was at UJFM for about 6, 7 months. And then I found out that YFM are having auditions for a weekend newsreader. So I went through.
Hmm.
No experience working in a newsroom.
Yeah.
But my editor at the time, Zukile Majova, gave me a shot and said, listen, if you're willing to learn, I'll give you a
Yeah.
chance. He was also baffled that the accounting student that now wants to work in a newsroom, he didn't understand what's going on. But at the time, I wanted to be independent. I really wanted to cement my independence. I wanted to
Mm,
wean myself off of my parents. I wanted to take
mm,
care of myself and not have them have to take care of me,
yeah. Yeah.
So I wanted to work, and that was the job that was available, and I took it and I ran with it. So that's how I
Mm.
started Weekend News.
And so, I mean, what inspired you to come into particularly rugby as a sport, particularly as a sort of
Yeah.
a male-dominated sport? What inspired that decision, and how did that journey come into fruition?
So my introduction to rugby was in high school at Marefilun, was a dual
Hmm.
medium school, so English and Afrikaans speaking.
Yes.
But rugby was the culture.
Hmm.
I remember the first game in grade eight where we all the grade eights are out, full uniform on a Saturday at one
Yeah.
o'clock in the afternoon in a
Can
blazing
relate. Yeah.
January, February sun, screaming your lungs out,
Yeah.
and cheering the first team. And
Mm.
it didn't captivate me then because I was just like, this sport, I just don't get why anybody wants to get bashed. Just go try. I don't understand, you know? And
Yeah.
also in 95, I was too young. I was just too young to get it. I was probably
Mm.
running around in the streets or something. And my father was always a football man. So I
Yeah.
learned over the years the other sporting codes, and high school introduced me to rugby. But I think where it really started to be a part of me was at Y, because weekend news is sports news essentially.
Yes.
That
Mm.
is what is happening on the weekend. Then it becomes your job to know. But I would say right after Lady Brugger, the presenter search, doing the work for Rugby World Cup 2011, and then the Varsity Cup. You know, the
Yes.
culture around the Varsity Cup, watching people's
Awesome.
careers
Yeah.
grow and blossom. That's when it was like chokehold. That's when it got me.
And
Yeah.
the rest, as they say, is history.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, within that journey, sort of 2 or 3 key lessons that you've learned in that sort of progression into this field, but also sort of the progression into chasing your passion. That's not
Yeah.
necessarily linked to what you studied, but actually this is what you want to do. What are sort of 2 or 3 key lessons that you would say you've learned throughout the process?
Oh, so many. I think one of the lessons that I learned from the newsroom, my editor told me this very, very early, is that it is not about you. It is not
Awesome.
about you. You have to be in service of whoever's listening or watching. It is about them. It's about feeding them. It's about letting
Yes.
them know what is going on. It's about entertaining them. And when you remove yourself from the equation and make it about the other person and making about being in service of the other person, that's when your work is fulfilling. That's when your work is inspiring, you know.
That's amazing.
I think the other lesson that I learned is to become specific about what I want, but know that it's not going to come packaged that way. You know,
Yes.
I wanted a
Yes.
willow tree, but God gave me an acorn and said, go plant
That's
it, go
amazing.
nurture it, go sing to it.
Yeah.
Make sure it has a sun, make sure that you are feeding into it, because a lot of the times we have these big dreams and we think it's going to arrive packaged. It's going to arrive in the neat little box that we envision in our mind, but
Yes.
that is the end picture that you're seeing, and it's not even the end, it's just the interlude in your journey of life.
Absolutely.
And you've got to just work small and take those small steps to making that big vision come alive. What other ones? There was one I just remembered now that's also important. A foot in the door. So it is like that. It's like, it's not packaged, but my foot in the door was weekend news. And then I had
Yes.
to work on the midday desk because we lost our midday newsreader. Now I'm midday and I'm working Monday to Friday. Now I'm engrossed in newsroom culture. Now I can write, I can cut sound in 5 minutes. I can make sure that there's a bulletin going out on the hour every hour. But look at how I start, and then I progress midday, afternoon, mornings. Next thing you know, I can take over a sports desk without anybody worrying about it. I can cover elections without anybody worrying about me.
Yeah.
Those kinds of things. So it's just getting your foot in the door. Get your foot in the door and work your way up, and that's okay too.
Yeah, and that's really, really profound. I think you touch on so many important points there, and I think one which resonates a lot with me is, it's not about exactly where you start, but it's about where you want to go. And I think that is so, so profound, and it's really, really impactful. So, being in that process, you certainly learned a lot. And what advice would you give to young presenters currently, specifically young female presenters? What advice would you give them sort of at the inception of their career at the moment?
Be authentic, be yourself, because if you are disingenuous, people will pick it up in your presentation. They'll know that you're trying to be someone else, because then their mind will put you together with someone else. They won't be able to enjoy your progression.
Yes.
So that's very important. Just be yourself.
Amazing.
Bring yourself to the table, whatever that is. If you're a funny guy, be funny in presentation. If you're witty, bring your wit, bring your charm, bring you. Tafa must be the guy that we're watching. And when I bump into him in the street, it can't be this. Is that it for real? So be your most, be your most authentic self. It's so important. That's how people connect with you. That's how people connect with the information you're trying to share with them, when they know that you're being authentic. Do great work. Be a stickler for quality, for excellence. My mantra is excellence, diligence and excellence.
It's amazing.
Because I realized in my life has taught me that I won't reach perfection, but I can be excellent, and allow God, my creator, the universe, to fold the rest of it up, my panel to fold the rest of it up, my team to fold the rest of it up. But I've always got to be my best self. I've always got to be so be excellent really in the work that you do. Don't don't half-ass it. Don't
Yeah.
cut corners. Don't
No.
take the shortcuts. Yeah, you must come with all of.
Yeah.
When the lights go off in studio, we are tired because we've brought it all for
You bring
you.
everything.
So,
Yeah.
everything. So
That's really good. That's really good.
don't half-ass it. Be excellent. Be excellent
Yeah,
all the
that's
time. I think
that's
the most
extremely profound.
one of the things that people are likely, to have thrown at them, especially as a woman, is credibility. But you build that up with good work. Let them not come at you for your work. Make sure that is impeccable, that it is world class, that it's top tier. Because then they'll start attacking other things like, oh, your hair, oh, your nose. When people come for my aesthetic, I know that my work is on fire because they can't touch that. So they're going to come at me with other nonsense, So make sure, I think that for me is the overriding thing, to just make sure that your work is world class and respect and treat the people that you work with the highest level of respect, because then they'll bring their best for you as well.
Yes.
Treat them well. When you come into studio, greet everybody. You don't have to be like the jokester and hey, always happy, but see people.
Yes. So I think, that's just so powerful. I'm not I'm not a presenter, but I'm in the engineering field, right? And that what you've spoken about is just applicable everywhere. That is applicable in any industry, any job, any sort of career that you're pursuing. So thank you for that. I think that was really, really powerful. So we talk a lot about, how do you motivate yourself, when you fail, when things go wrong. But what I want to know is, how do you motivate yourself through your successes? So you've been successful to a point, right? And that's awesome. But how do you keep pushing yourself? What is your sort of state of mind once you've reached a goal that you want to attain? What's next? How does your mindset sort of evolve as you sort of hit those peaks that you wanted to hit? So Rugby World Cup final, amazing, right? But what's your mindset now after that? We talk a lot about mindsets through failures, but I specifically want to touch on mindset in success. So you are succeeding at something and you meet a goal, you meet a target. What's your mindset through that phase to get through to the next stage?
Excuse me. I think it's very easy to get complacent when you're doing very well, which is why this part, and I'm glad you brought it up, which is why this part is very important. And the what's next question used to haunt me, actually, to the point where I wouldn't take time to even celebrate the wins that I've just had. So I've learned the balance of celebrate the successes and then regroup, as opposed to have the success, move on, next thing. I think what you need to do is always consider yourself successful, but with a room for improvement. Always think of your career and your life as having a room for improvement, that you never really get to whatever it for you is, that you're constantly just striving to be better than you were yesterday.
That's
so
awesome.
Just that room for improvement. And I think that kind of thinking will always help you to remember that I can be an inch better, even if it's just a millimeter better than yesterday, or millimeter better than my last engineering project, my last bulletin, my last production. Then I'm doing well, and even that in itself is a success. Every time you progress, every time that you're better, every time that you get something right, it's a win for you that should be celebrated.
Awesome.
So I think it's just the small margins. And you're right, after World Cup, I was like, well, it's a World Cup. What's next? But there's Super Rugby 2020. It's the 25th year. How do we make it more exciting? How do we get more eyes on the product? Then we're 2021, we're back to 14 teams, change of format. How do we get people to galvanize behind that? There's the British and Irish Lions tour. With South Africa and England in the final, it's already spots. The English already just want to be here, So that is also going to galvanize you to make sure that your product is good. It's the first BNI tour that I will be doing. So I've got to bring my best self. After
Yes.
that, with the 2022 World Cup, and then it is going to be the 2023 World Cup. I think sevens is in 2022. Then 2023 in France. How am I better than Japan 2019? So it's just this constant progression, you know, moving from level to level to level to level. Your thinking becomes bigger and better. Your presentation becomes bigger and better. Your craft, you just constantly, you know, tweaking little things that make you amazing. So in success, I think take a moment to celebrate what you have won. Celebrate the win. You know, look at where you come from. Look at what all that you have to overcome. Take that all in, and then a week, 2 weeks after that, regroup. Okay, what's next? What could be better by an inch than that?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's powerful.
Yeah.
That's really, really
Yeah.
powerful. Thank you so much. So let's talk about inspiring a new generation of presenters, right? And I
Yeah.
know this is something that you are quite passionate about. And I think, you know, by your example, you have already inspired, you know, a new generation of presenters which are coming through.
Thank you.
But tell us a little bit about that, the source of that passion, where it comes from, as well as sort of 2 or 3 key principles that you would like to impart on others and that you live by yourself as well.
So for me, I just feel like there's a thing called favor,
Yeah.
right? You can be the most brilliant engineer in the world, but there's certain things that won't be in your control that you
Yes.
just need favor from
Yep.
God, favor from your creator, favor from the
Absolutely.
universe. And that comes in the form of people promoting you. It comes in the form of people giving you opportunity. It comes in the form of people giving you a new perspective. It comes in the form of people when you're standing at a crossroads and they say, hey man, that right turn might just be the one for you, you know. It comes in the form of new information. It comes in the form of new ideas, small things on your path that look like they're derailing you, but they're not. They're leading you to where you're supposed to be. And I want to be that for other people. I want to be the person that opens the door and leaves it ajar for you to come in, or the person that says, that's great presentation, but look, this and this and this can be so much better, or work on this and that, you know. I had people that did that for me. I had people that looked out for me. I had people that allowed me a stepping stone. I mean, when I came third in Lady Raga, I have no business doing what I'm doing today. But because one of the producers, Erin Ferreira, saw my tapes and had a brand new show she was working on, she's like, bring her in. I'd like to screen test her. I want her to be the presenter of my show. Had I not had that
opportunity,
yes, that opportunity, that wouldn't happen. This conversation would not be happening today. But I was favored. She saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. She saw something in me that she could use. She saw greatness in me that I didn't even know I had. And I just want to be that for someone else, you know? Not necessarily opportunity, because right now I don't own anything, but I'm working on it. But I don't own anything. So I can't give you an internship. I can't give you, but I can help you refine what you have. I can give you my 10 years of experience and say, this is better, that is better. I can give you my life experience and say, this is how you elevate, that's how you elevate. So that's why I think it's so important just to be that, or play that big sister role. I am a big sister in real life. So I know I would like to be a guiding light. That's essentially why I do it.
Yeah. That's profound. That's profound. So tell me about the role of mentorship currently in your sort of success to date. How has that played a role, if any? And are you also looking to mentor people? Do you currently mentor people? But also just your general thoughts on mentorship in and of itself, how it should be and how you've experienced it.
I wasn't mentored by one person.
Okay.
But it is a kaleidoscope of people that have fed into my growth and into my successes. You know, it's people who have gone out of their way to tell me something that I need to tweak, or to help me out, or give me an opportunity, or help me find opportunities elsewhere. So that's the kind of mentoring I've had. It's not one specific person that I'm constantly going to. You know, my friends have helped me in a certain way. My family has been major in a certain way in terms of mentoring me and helping me to get to the next level. My colleagues as well, particular colleagues that have made it their business to make sure that I grow, and not just in the presenter side, producers, directors that are in my ear telling me this is how you can get better, do this, not that, that kind of thing. So it hasn't been one particular person, but and I am grateful for that. I think I do pick up my inspiration from a lot of things and a lot of people, and I'm perfectly fine with that. I think mentoring, not sure how it's done now, but the kind of mentor I want to be is not one where you come with nothing. I want you to come with something and ask, this is what I have, where can I refine it? Because I find a lot of people will come on and be like, this is who I am, this is what I want to do, what should I do? But they haven't taken the first steps, they haven't made the calls, they haven't studied the landscape of the industry, they haven't figured out what they want to do in the industry, what position they'd like to hold, what their passion is, if they even, or their why do they want to be in this industry, why do they want to impart in the sporting space? So that's where I think people need to start on their own. And then seek someone who is going to refine, who's going to explain the finer details to you so that you can make the ultimate decision or decisions on where you want to go and where you want to take your career. So it's not my work to do. My work is to assist, but I can't do the work for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I think that may be the misconception. Yeah.
That's really profound. So to finish off, we have a couple of questions from the floor, which we did obviously in the
Finish
Q&A.
already.
Time has flown.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of questions from the floor which we need to go through.
Cool, no problem.
I see one in the comments here, you know, what daily habits do you think contribute to your success? Maybe just 2 or 3 sort of daily habits, or one that you think is quite profound for you that contributes to your success?
I have not been very strict with myself of late. I really just try to, okay, firstly, I have a breakfast show that I do on Vision View Sports Radio. So the first thing is to wake up on time, you know, to not click the snooze button or anything. Get up, wake up, sit up, be grateful that you're up, be grateful for the day ahead. You know, when you're in the shower, start running the day through your mind. A friend of mine, Aziza, actually was the one that was like, have a to-do list, because I'd always forget to do things. I have a calendar, I have reminders, and I have my list of things to do, you know, things that you want to just get done through the day. And it is so fulfilling to just see those ticks on the pages of things that have been done. But whatever it is that you do, and whatever work or whatever industry that you're in, just carry the essence of excellence with you in everything that you do. Everything that you do must just be of the highest standard, the kind of standard that you expect from other people. I think should always emanate from you first. And that's what I try to do. I try to make sure that my show is top class. I try to make sure that when I train, I'm training at my best. I have been slacking because I'm a human, and I've given myself grace to rest and to regroup. And that's also important. Make sure that you do rest, you know, that you take care of yourself, that you take care of your mind. Take care of your mind. Make sure that what you're feeding your mind is positive, it's uplifting, it makes you feel good about yourself, it makes you feel good about your days ahead. So yeah, I think that's what's important, you know, wake up and just be grateful for a new day, and then go out there and be the best. And it's like those small margins I was telling you about. If you can just be better than yes, because you can't have 2 bad days in a row if you're always in reflection. If you are reflecting on the day you've just had and it's been a bad one, all of you is just going to be psyched on tomorrow will be great, you know.
That's
so
awesome.
yeah, that's what I try and do. That's awesome.
That's amazing. So another question that I had is, you know, this is in the pre-Q&A, and I think for everybody watching, if you have questions, you can now start to sort of populate them through, and then we'll try pick 2 or 3 that we can go through as well. I see there's a couple coming through in the Q&A, which is awesome. How do you balance your public life and your personal life together? How do you keep, you know, that sort of balance You are a public figure. People know who you are. How do you keep that balance with your personal life and your friends and your family?
Priorities. It is to prioritize. What is important must remain important. So I try to make as much time for family and friends as possible. It's not always possible because on the days when family and friends gather and have a good time, I'm at work and or working, But
Yes.
I have made a much better effort of it, and I try and show up as much as possible. I beg your pardon, for the people that matter. But I think with things like social media, you put out what you want people to know about you. So if you don't want your personal life to be for public consumption, then don't put it there.
Yeah.
If you want to hint at it, then be smart about it. I mean,
Mm,
we're smart, we're witty people. You can find a way, you know.
mm, mm.
Um, if you want to hint at it but not put it out there, I think you've just got to be very cognizant and very mindful of what you want people to know about you, what you are comfortable sharing with the public, and what you want to remain private, and keep that private. Keep that private, keep that for you. Yeah.
That's good. That's really good. I have another question. So I'm going to direct quote the question. It says, how do you ensure that you always look fly? That's the.
Thanks, guys. Yeah, I am terrible at looking fly. Hey, thank goodness for the makeup artist and our stylist at Supersport. They're the ones that keep me fly on air. But after that, I try to keep it as natural as possible. Look, I'm working on it. It's a lot of effort, and sometimes I'm just not up to their effort. But when the moment and the event calls for it, obviously you've got to come through with all of
Yeah.
it. But when I'm home, I want to be home. I tell my friend I'm a slob.
Yeah, I
I'm
just
not
want
a
to be
slob.
relaxed.
Like, not, yeah, just relaxed. Yeah, that's the word.
You want to be
I
relaxed.
want to
Get
be
it.
relaxed. But I mean, on air, we have a team and they are fabulous. Like, we get beat to the gods, darling. The clothes are amazing. We always look amazing. But that is also like part of our, it's just another piece that makes the presentation so amazing. Yeah.
Good. And so obviously being in the sports industry, what do you think what does the future look like for sport, after COVID-19? Do you think
I've been
different
mulling over that. And
or
I honestly don't know. I think it will be different. Yo, but it's
Hard to say, isn't it?
it's very, very hard to say. No, I've been trying to even imagine games behind closed doors, and the numbers are just too much for us to do it here because gatherings of more than 100 people are outlawed, and here we would need more than 100 people to put a game on air. So I can't answer that. I don't know. I really don't know.
I don't either because it's so hard to say
Yeah.
because we've never seen anything like this in our life.
Yes,
That's the
yes.
thing.
And you don't know what the pivot will be. You don't know what the
No.
options even are. I try to imagine like British and Irish Lions tour, and I'm just like, yeah, like a stadium. I can't imagine an empty stadium. I can't
Yeah,
imagine.
I can't imagine that either. Yeah.
I can't
Crazy.
imagine fans not coming down from the north to come in. So I
The experience
honestly
is
don't know.
different.
Look, the Bundesliga is coming back next weekend.
I saw that.
So I think that will maybe give us a glimpse of what new normal will look like. But even they are using concessions based on COVID. It's not new because we need something new. I don't know.
It's hard to
I don't
say.
know. Yeah.
It really is hard to say.
Yeah.
Another question was, so how do you, what practices or tips do you have, to keep composure in the big moment? So in those sort of crunch time moments when, millions are watching, what sort of practices or tips do you have for people as sort of a theoretical lesson that you've learned throughout those big moments?
Managing big moments comes with experience. So with every production, you are going to get better. You are going to get better at it. It takes time. It takes time because it is also a skill you have to refine. If someone is shouting that something is dead in the truck, or I don't know, the audio table has exploded, you have to keep the composure. You still have to keep the program going. And it comes with it. So when you usually speak to a person, if I say, Tafa, how are you doing? Your immediate response is to look for where I am and then to respond. And on television, you learn that while I'm speaking, someone is speaking to me, and I have to nod as if I've heard that person. But actually, I'm not, because I'm nodding like I'm just explaining this thing. And then my panelist is going to jump in, and I'm still nodding, but I'm not necessarily agreeing with what they're saying, or I am, but I'm also noting what's going on in the control room.
Lot,
so
basically.
it is a lot, but it really can't be taught on a theoretical level. You have to be sitting in that chair over and over and over again. You have to be the presenter at venue over and over and over again to get better and better and better at it. I always say the things that can be your crutch, especially when you have to fill time or something, is to be well researched. To be well researched will save you pre-game, but halftime and full time is to be engaged in the match, to really be engaged in what is going on, big moments. What is commentary saying? What are you hearing from some of the fans that you can still use even at halftime? The stats, the research that you've done, you can still use it. That will always keep you calm. Over prepare, because you don't know what is actually going to happen on the day. Live TV, everything can go haywire, you know. But composure in particular. So Zondinda was saying, these hallowed grounds, I'll never forget that.
I see that.
Thank you. It's one of my favorite pieces of work. What was I saying? Oh, composure comes with time, but research is also your friend, and that will also help you. But the more you come to see that authenticity, the more you're comfortable in your own skin, and the more you're comfortable with your delivery, you'll be able
really
to
good.
And you can say things like, oh my goodness, I can't even hear my director right now. We're going to go to an ad break in just a moment, but before we go to that ad break, you can already ad lib, because you've seen the game. This is what's coming up. These are the people that I've just saw warming up off of the benches. Then your floor manager's probably coming behind the cameraman to tell you, okay, wrap it up, okay, 3, 2, okay, we'll be back after this, boom. You see, but it comes with you finesse it with time.
That's really, really good. Motshidisi, thank you so much. This has been amazing.
This has been so much fun. I don't want to go anywhere.
Are there? Let's see. I'm trying to look.
No, I'm kidding. It's been all good, Tafa. Thank you so much for giving me.
I'm just looking if there's one more question. This is anybody's last chance. You have about 5 seconds to ask one last question. But I think, I'll give the floor to you. Is there anything, that you'd like to say to everybody watching on this platform as sort of a last word before I conclude?
Thank you so much for joining us for this conversation. I hope it has been enlightening for you. I hope that I have been able to impart something on your lives. Thank you for watching. Every single weekend when your World of Champions is on. Thank you for being a part of our conversations, even when it gets heated, because I know you love your teams. And when the franchises are playing, we all divided, but Springboks, we all come together, and we make it a party. So thank you so much for being a part of that. And it is my honor and privilege to serve you. Every single time that I am in studio, we make sure that the experience is amazing for you, so that you can come back every single weekend. And I hope that you are all keeping well and keeping safe during these times, crazy times, tough times. Everybody's going through something rough, some more than others. So please be kind to one another, consider one another, pray for one another. Keep everybody that you know in your thoughts. And where you can help, where you are able, please do. Please do. It will mean the world to someone else. Yeah.
That's really, really good. Thank you so much. This has been a jam-packed 35 minutes. I have absolutely loved it. I think your journey is so inspiring, I think, for everybody that has watched this and that is going to watch this afterwards. Thank you for the lessons that you've shared. And I think that your example is so powerful. Right. I think the power of your journey is inspiring to so many, myself included, and just seeing you every weekend do your thing. And I think it's not just being there; it's the excellence that you spoke about, right? It's the fact that you are bringing top-notch standard. It's the fact that you are at the top of your game, and like you said earlier, even with your successes, you continue to look to the future, and I think that will hold you in great stead. So I just want to wrap it up, but I want to say thank you so much for joining the show. I'd love to do a part 2 again someday. That would be amazing.
No problem. No problem. I'll
But
definitely avail myself. Thank you.
oh, wonderful, wonderful. Motshidisi, thank you so much. Please keep well, keep safe, stay healthy, wash your hands, all the good things that we've been advised to do.
Sanitize.
Yeah, all those good things. But until the next time, thank you so much, and bye-bye.
Thank you.
Cool. Cheers. Bye-bye. All right. I hope that you guys enjoyed that. That was really, really special. And the full episode will be up on the Impactful Conversations YouTube channel. Thank you so much for all the love. Episode 5 is coming next weekend, so tune in for that. Information about episode 5 will come out in the next couple of days. I'm really excited for it. We're going to, I think, have some really, really impactful conversations, for lack of a better phrase. But yeah, please head over to the YouTube channel afterwards. Thank you for all the love. Subscribe to the channel to find all the content there. But yeah, there's more to come. So stick with us on this journey. I think this is going to be an amazing journey as we interview, lots of different speakers, and we engage with them on a one-to-one basis. That'll be amazing in the future. But until episode 5, I hope that you guys stay safe, stay healthy, and wash your hands. Cheers. Bye-bye.